everybody, my name is Gianna, I am the museum lover, and I am also very cold, so I'm going to be wearing this blanket. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like this video and hit the subscribe button because we're doing another museum review. I do these every week, so make sure you hit the bell too so that you are notified when my next review is up. Now, the goal of the Museum Lover channel is to show the diverse missions and communities that museums serve. So if you're interested in learning more about how museums are run and how they serve their communities, do feel free to keep watching. Today we're visiting the legendary Boston Athenaeum. Now I know what you're thinking, what the heck is an Athenaeum? Well, an Athenaeum is kind of like a museum and a library put together. So if you are really into books, but you don't want that public library experience, you want something a little more, an Athenaeum is an excellent place to visit. So there are some basic things that I look for when I visit a museum. The first one being their website and how easy it is to get information and, if needed, tickets. Number 2, I see how easy it is to get to the museum, such as places to park or public transportation or if it's walkable. Number 3, I check out the galleries themselves and see how they support the mission of the museum overall. I also check out the general layout of the museum and how easy it is to navigate around the exhibits. So with those things in mind, we put them all together and we give the museum a ranking at the end of the video. So stick around if you want to see how the Boston Athenaeum does. Established by the Boston Anthology in 1805, the members wanted to create a magazine publication. It turned into a place where literacy, learning, and science could be accessible to everyone, and as time went on, their collection of books increased and now holds over 500,000 volumes to date. So the Athenaeum, because it is so literary centered, is a lot different than other museums. But I do include them in my museum reviews because I do consider it maybe a very literary centric place, but it does include other exhibits within the confines of their institution. So I consider it a cultural landmark and therefore believe it does deserve a place as part of the museum review series. So when I first went to their website, it wasn't really easy to find out how much the price of admission was, but it was easy to find their mission on their About page. And there were other ways to find out how you can enter and experience the Athenaeum for yourself. Now, admission prices start at $8, so we're actually going to check out what you can do for those $8 before we move on to what members only can get, because memberships do tend to be a little more expensive, but have a lot more benefits with that. So, the Athenaeum has some very iconic red doors with the number 10.5 on them. That's right, they are 10.5 on the street, which I didn't get at first, but I did understand when I got there. When you go in, the lobby is just this big marble grand lobby, and it is whisper quiet. Now, there are no bags or backpacks allowed in the Athenaeum, so they provide you with these really cute free lockers. And you get your own personal key where you can lock and then keep in your pocket. I should note, though, that those keys are very expensive, $300 to get remade, so do not lose your key. But I do really appreciate that the Athenaeum provides a free space to store your stuff, because some places will require payment to use lockers, but it was really nice that the storage was complimentary because everybody has a backpack, everybody has a large bag. We're carrying a lot of stuff these days, both physically and mentally. Oh, this clipboard is very light, but it is carrying the stress of all my life. I'm okay. So the circulation desk covers both general library circulation, information, and membership. And the folks there were really super nice. Now, there are other ways to access the Athenaeum. However, I am starting with the cheapest option that isn't a membership. So we get there and we say hi to everybody at the circulation information desk, and we go into the first room, which has a lot of children's books right in the center. But if you go further back, you can see these big, beautiful windows. There's a research desk there where you can look up books and other items. And you can see out into the colonial graveyard that is right behind the building. You'll also notice throughout this visit that there are a lot of pieces of art at the Athenaeum. Many libraries do carry art from more present-day contemporary artists, so it was really cool to see both literary and art history, like really old stuff, coming together here. Another thing to note was that there were a lot of doors that said members only, so we couldn't go further than that. I will say, though, there was an old-timey elevator with this really cool ding 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 dial that I actually got to see move. That was my highlight. I liked watching that thing move. I thought it was really cool. Now, above my head was a balcony that I believe was reserved either just for members or just for the staff, but also had lots and lots of books. And it kind of made me think of that moment, you know, where Belle enters the library and the beast opens the curtains and she's all, "For me?" And part of me just really wanted to go upstairs because it looked like there was some fun stuff up there. But again, limited amount of places you can go when you're not a member. So after I kind of had my fill of that first room, which had the balcony, it had this really cool statue, it had the little research laptop thing, catalog. It had the catalog computer. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh my gosh. It had the catalog computer. So from there, I moved on to the next room, which was right next door, through these great big beautiful doors to this huge, it almost felt like a ballroom. There was art on either side of the room, a lot of busts, a lot of beautiful marble or plaster statues, some of iconic Boston people, not all of them. And around me, they were getting ready for an exhibition of works by Dante. Now, the Athenaeum has a lot of rare books. One I've heard is actually made of human skin. But it looks like they were getting ready for their next exhibit. You could see the picture of Dante and a quick description about what they're putting in. The glass cases were empty, of course. Go figure, this is the Harvard Natural History Museum all over again. Check out that video if you haven't done so already. So it was really cool to be greeted by so much art from all these different time periods by all these different artists. And again, we were able to see that balcony with all those books again, but this room was just much more dramatic. I imagine you could host a wedding in there pretty well. Now, there were rooms on either side of this large ballroom space. One was for members only. The other one was for if you needed to make a phone call, you could separate yourself. That tiny room somebody was sitting in, so I couldn't get a video of me in that room. Very sad. But I did manage to spend a little bit time in the other room, which I wasn't supposed to be in, but nobody stopped me. I did leave when they asked me to leave, I promise. I'm not a troublemaker, really. We are wholesome here on this channel, I promise. But I did get to take a second to check out some of the angry busts that were in the room, and some of the other cool sculptures that you could be surrounded by while you're reading magazines, newspapers, or getting some work done. And again, had more of that balcony that I just wanted to pop right up there and start looking around, checking it out, pack right in some rare books. Getting to the Athenaeum was pretty easy. I took the green line to Park Street and I walked. It's a very quick walk. Parking in that area though, because it is the Common, I was gonna say Government Center, it is the Common, and there is a parking garage underneath the Common. I don't know how much that costs though. In my opinion, it's easier to take public transit. If you're able to walk, I would recommend it. Boston is more walkable than you think it is. As a visitor, you don't get full access to all 4 floors of the Athenaeum. Now, there is a free fun Friday that usually happens in the summertime where you can go into the entire Athenaeum for free. The other thing you can do is purchase a day pass. The Athenaeum gives out 5 day passes daily, and each of those day passes cost $40. That can be really expensive. But it's a way for you to go check out the rest of the Athenaeum without purchasing a full yearly membership. I was out of luck. There were no day passes when I went because it was later in the afternoon, but that is how the cookie crumbles. Saving $40 is not a bad thing. But I did make the most of my trip. I got to sit in these beautiful, beautiful quiet rooms. I got to read a lot of really cool books. I got to check out some novels that I'd never heard of. And the staff was really friendly. I felt like I could talk to the guards. I felt like I could talk to the people at the desk. Everyone was very friendly. They were asking me, how my pictures were coming along, and I'm like, coming out great. You're gonna love it. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Museum Lover. Shameless plug. Now, if you want to get a little more out of your Athenaeum visit, if you are just on that first floor and not purchasing a day pass, you can take a tour. Tours are happening in person at the Athenaeum. You can make a free reservation for some, Other tours do cost an extra fee, and if you don't feel like going to the Athenaeum in person, they do offer some great online tours as well. So I give them points for making sure that they have all their tour accessibility covered. And navigating between these two rooms was easy enough.
Exit through the gift shop. You can buy gifts at the circulation desk. Bye.
Hey look, the heat turned off and now you can hear me. La 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 la. Now the accessibility elevator was under renovations, but lucky for those of you who require a mobility aid, they really did a good job of opening communication so that they can still assist you with planning your visit, making sure that you can get into the Athenaeum safely. So that's it. It was literally just those two rooms that I was able to access with the $8 ticket. I will admit, if you like a very quiet place to hang out, to maybe get a little bit of work done, or to take out a book, I don't really know if the books are available to people who are not members. Maybe I can find that out. Give me a second.
Hi, future Gianna here. You can only check out books if you're a member.
Thanks, future me. So now we know. Now, overall, this is the part where I start going through the boxes that the Athenaeum checks and does not check. Getting tickets online, you don't have to do that. You can do them in person when you get there. Their website information is somewhat clear, like things like their hours, tours, what they do, that's readily available. Getting there was a breeze on public transportation. There's parking nearby if you decide to take your car. And then getting into the Athenaeum itself wasn't hard at all. And the fact that they provided those lockers, they had these wide open doors, you could do circles and zigzag and go where you please. Once Dante is up, it's going to be along the walls, so you'll get to see those too once that opens up. So a big part of the Athenaeum's mission is to spread knowledge, which I think they do very well. They provide free tours, they do provide opportunities for those day passes, and of course you've got all those books. Books on books on books. So there are quite a few things that I have to think about when I am giving my ranking for the Boston Athenaeum. While they do check all the boxes, and I do think they check them really well, my one gripe is that the information you have access to just with being a visitor is very limited. If you want to get the most out of your visit, you have to pick a membership, or you would have to take a risk to go early and get that day pass. And I think you also have to have a very specific interest in literature, not just reading literature, but bookbinding, bookmaking, news, archives. You really do have to have a very specific interest to get an enjoyable experience out of the Athenaeum. And you would get a lot more out of your trip than I did if you opted to take a tour. So with that in mind, I'm giving them a 5. They are a beautiful cultural institution, and I would recommend it visiting if you are really interested in the history of libraries, the history of books, how books are bound, rare books. If you have that specific interest, you would probably give the Athenaeum a 10 out of 10. But the other thing too is that in order to get the most out of your visit, you need to be a member, you need to get that day pass, you need to spend a little bit more money. So with that in mind, those are the reasons I have given the Boston Athenaeum a 5 out of 10. Alright everybody, that's gonna do it for today. I am going to go check my thermostat because it is cold. But if you haven't done so, please remember to like this video and leave a comment where you would like me to go next. And don't forget to check out me on Instagram and on TikTok at The Museum Lover. Bye you guys, see you at the next museum, take care. It is cold in here.